Rock, paper, scissors. See who opens it. 2 out of 3.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Fuck.
Okay.
I get to open it. Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to Jackalopes Fire TV. It's time once again for Chuck and Cilla to bring you our Flix Pix. Meaning...
Yay! Flix Pix! Woohoo!
It's just Netflix. Calmate. So basically, it's time once again for us to tell you what we think is awesome on Netflix
And what you should be watching.
It's up to them.
It's
I mean,
up to
really.
you. It is.
All right, so
We're trying to help, though.
So you get to go first.
Yay! I get to go first.
All right, I've taken it away from you.
Hey!
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'm caffeined up, man.
You're a little too excited.
Woohoo! Okay, so my first pick I've done before. I don't know how recently I've done it, but I feel the need to do it again for a couple of reasons. That first pick is Queer as Folk. It's the U.S. version. It's on Netflix now. On Netflix now because it is the 10th anniversary.
Okay.
And they're actually re-airing it on Showtime.
Oh, I didn't know
as
that.
well. For those of you that don't know what Queer as Folk is, at the time it was very controversial because nothing like it had been on TV before.
Not in the U.S. anyway.
No, not in the U.S. It's a show about basically Sex in the City with gay men. I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to.
And specifically, it was set in the early 2000s.
Yes.
And it was the gay and lesbian scene in San Francisco, right? It is San Francisco, right?
The show's set in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. Maybe I was just assuming it was San Francisco. So it's in Pittsburgh, and it centers around this group of gay men and women. Right.
Specifically for gay men. There are 2 lesbians that are friends with them too, but the main focus, the heart of the show, is the 4 men.
Sure.
And up until that point in time when the show premiered, gay characters had pretty much been background characters, token gray characters. Even Will and Grace was very desexualized. I mean,
right.
You had Will and Jack, and they were gay, but you never saw them
with men.
Right.
Even when they were on a date, it was just they were out. There was no holding hands, no kissing, certainly no let's go off into the bedroom kind of thing.
Right.
The most risque thing they really did was have Jack, who's this flamboyantly gay, just fabulous, and his relationship with Karen.
Right.
That was the most risque thing they did, and even that would have been technically a heterosexual relationship.
And so there had been nothing like it on TV up to this point, and it was on Showtime, which gave them the ability to take the sexual and the language even further than you would get away with on network or even regular cable TV.
Right.
And they did. It was the first time we saw graphic gay sex scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You touched on topics such as gay bashing, AIDS, dealing something that had definitely never been on TV before. 2 men, 1 HIV positive, 1 HIV negative, in a relationship together.
Right.
Things that were just unheard of on TV at that point. So it definitely pushed the envelope and broke through boundaries. And even better, was a great show. Well written, great acting, great ensemble. They had the benefit of gathering a good group of people that meshed.
I never really cared for it. That's just me. And you and I have talked about this before. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the sexual side of it. I just never got into the show.
Right. And it's not for everyone.
Right.
You're not always into dramas. I mean, it's very
not hardcore drama,
right?
That's what this was. There was very little humor in it, not real humor. I like my drama with a lot of humorous moments. Like Castle. Castle's a very funny show while being dramatic.
Right. And this was a dramatic show. The humor in it came from knowing the characters.
Right.
And then it was more inside jokes once you got to know the characters.
Yeah.
But it, to this day, is my favorite show of all time. So I'm very glad to see it being celebrated. There's actually been talk about a reunion movie similar to what Sex and the City has done. Almost all of the actors have said if they were presented with a good script, they'd love to do it.
To revisit that.
So hopefully the interest will generate with it being back on Showtime and on Netflix. I'd love to see it make a comeback.
Just have to wait and see.
Now, if you've watched the original show, you will notice the Netflix version is slightly different. There's a few weird edits, but even more than that, I don't understand why, but evidently they didn't relicense any of the music, not just a couple of songs here and there, but any of the original music. The entire soundtrack has changed and been replaced with what sounds like bad copies that was thrown together quickly in a studio to give it the same tempo and beat. And a lot of those scenes, a lot of the powerful scenes, the music is what helped drive some of it. So I feel like it does lose some of the impact by changing the soundtrack. Thankfully, I have my DVDs, which has all the original music on it, so I've been able to compare some of it. And there's a lot of scenes where the music changes the meaning of the scene when the music was swapped out. The biggest one, though, and the one that really made me take notice, is the last episode of season 1. The two of the main characters, Brian and Justin, are at Justin's prom dancing in front of all of his high school friends. The song that was originally... Bless you. The song that was originally used...
Oh, here we go again.
was Save the Last Dance for Me.
Right.
And that is one of the best known scenes in that series. They replaced it with a song with the same beat, same tempo, some of the same music, or sound-alike music, that's completely different. Right. It was thrown together in the studio. And it really took away some of the impact of that scene that was previously so powerful. I didn't care.
Yeah, because that particular song has a message, and so tying it to that scene was important. Mm-hmm. So taking it out of there, I could see how that would probably throw it off. I've seen the scene you're talking about, so taking that song out of there, that would be very weird. And
there's a lot of scenes like that, because the music was so important.
I mean, you might as well replace it with something retarded, like Hey There, Little Red Riding Hood.
It'd have
Although that one would fit better.
But things like that, it changes some of the impact of the show, and I didn't like that aspect of it. Mm. But at least it's on Netflix. It's getting out there to a new generation that may not have been able to watch it initially. Sure. So it's a double-edged sword.
Now, I'm curious, is the British version on there as well, or do you know?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
It was.
Okay.
It used to be. It is not now. Hopefully it will be back, because I didn't get through watching all of it.
I know, I hate that. You start watching something and not realizing they're about to pull it, and then it's gone. You're like, motherfucker!
Yeah. But, I'll say this, and very few times will you ever hear me say this. Very few times. The American version's better than the British anyway.
And I've heard people say that, but I've also heard the other side of the argument. Again, I didn't care for the American version. I haven't tried the British version, so
yeah.
But like The Office is that way. A lot of people say the American version of The Office is superior. A lot of people say that it's the other way around. Very
few times will I ever say an American version is better than a British version. I think this is one of those few.
I think the American version of Doctor Who's pretty good.
Have you seen that article?
Yes, I've seen it. It was stupid.
I liked it. So anyway, that's my first pick, Horse Folk. If you've never had a chance to check it out,
that was only one pick.
God, at least watch the episode. My next two are going to be very quick. They're both stand-up comedians.
Oh, okay.
Because honestly, I haven't watched a lot of Netflix lately because I've been getting through the 5 seasons of Chorus Folk. I'm halfway through season 4 now. Uh-huh. So I've been watching those. But prior to that, I did see a couple of stand-up comedians that I actually had never heard of before.
Right.
Netflix recommended them, and I actually liked them. One of them is Don Friesen?
I don't know. Show me. Don Friesen. Oh my god, I hated that one.
Ask Your Mom. I loved it.
I hated it. I couldn't even finish it. I got 15 minutes in and said, fuck this shit.
I loved him.
More power to you. And we do that a lot. We don't agree on comedians a lot.
Yeah, Don Friesen, Ask
Titus
Your Mom.
is probably one of those that we always do, though.
Yeah. The title of the special is Ask Your Mom, and I thought it was hilarious. I loved it.
I didn't. And that's okay. Everybody to their own opinions.
The other one that I liked very much was Dan Cummins, Crazy with a capital F.
And again, I don't agree. It's another one that I tried and couldn't get through. That's amazing.
Loved it.
Okay, well, okay.
Loved him. So those are my 3 picks.
Right on. So I went a little different. And mine is... all right, so my first one is Airheads. I fucking love Airheads. It's Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler's in it, and I forget everybody that's in it. But anyway, it's these idiot rockers who end up taking a radio station hostage because it's about to change format. Or no, that's not. That comes out during the story. I forget anyway. It's been a while since I watched it, but it's on Netflix, and I'm going to be watching it this weekend. I fucking love Airheads. It is so stupid. So stupid. But so good. It's right up there with Wayne's World for me. It really is. It's not quite as culturally impactful as Wayne's World was, but...
On my way home, I had a rough day at work the other day.
Yeah.
So on my way home, I'm like, I need some good music. I really want to hear Bohemian Rhapsody. And sure enough, within 10 minutes, the station I was listening to happened to play it.
Nice.
Just out of pure luck.
There you go. That's why it's on my phone at all times.
And so, sure enough, as soon as I hear it, I start jamming out like Wayne's World. Like, that is what goes through my mind every time I hear that song now. I can't help it.
And, and one of the things that I always loved about Airheads specifically is there's this one line in it. They're talking about the old-time DJs talking to these young punks as, your music today, it doesn't have a message, it doesn't say anything. And Brendan Fraser's character goes, yeah, because Purple Haze had a message. And Purple Haze is a classic Jimi Hendrix song. If you've never heard it, you go find it. But it doesn't have a message other than let's get high.
That reminds me of...
So that's just funny.
It's almost identical to a conversation that Mom and I had with Dad.
Talking about that?
Friday. No, not talking about music, generations. Because the station we were listening to played a Kiss song. Dad starts going on a rant about how Kiss shouldn't have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I'm like...
I beg to fucking differ.
That's pretty much what I said. In a cleaner version. And I go, why would you think that? I go, not that I'm a huge Kiss fan, but they've had an impact.
And they are iconic American rock and roll.
And he goes, it's like Nirvana and that music. It's just noise. I go, I definitely don't like Nirvana, but again, huge impact. And he goes, that's just noise. And so not too long later, a Led Zeppelin song came on the radio. And Mom goes, and that's not just noise? Because to me, that's just noise. And
wow.
I'm like, honestly, I was going to say the same thing. I thought the same thing. I wasn't going to say it, but I think... And it's a generational thing.
But it shouldn't be. He's from that generation. He was my age, and in fact, he was younger than I am now, when Kiss hit big.
His argument was, when I said they had an impact on music, love the band or hate them, they had an impact on music. Yeah, to 13-year-old girls... He's your dad.
No! He's the peanut gallery's dad. So, anyway, Airheads.
It reminded me of that.
No, yeah, absolutely. My next one, in keeping with the comedy concept, is called Mixology. Now, this is a brand new show. It aired on ABC this year. In fact, it only aired in the spring. It was a mid-season.
Right.
And it was a great show. It really was. It only got one season, unfortunately. It's already been canceled, but they did let it run the entire course. They did not cancel it early. We saw every episode aired. And somehow it has already appeared on Netflix, and I think that's amazing. It's such a good show, and if you did not watch it when it aired on ABC, or if you missed a couple episodes and now it's gone, go check it out on Netflix. Watch the entire thing. Give yourself like a weekend. Watch the whole thing together, because it's a great show. They're 30-minute episodes, and they're easy to digest and fun to kind of follow along, because it tells a great story. And it's this group of people. It's several small groups of people that interact with each other over the course of one night in a bar. And it starts with this group of male friends and this pair of female co-workers who are also friends, and then this other pair of females who have been friends all their lives. And then this one guy, and all their different interactions with each other, the bardbacks, the waitresses, the fiance of one of the characters, and just seeing how everybody's lives changed in that one night. Some changed, some didn't. It was a fascinating show. It was so good. I watched every single episode, loved it. And if you haven't seen it, I think you need to. Are you okay? I see you're reading that, aren't you?
I can't help it. It's funny.
So sorry. So anyway, Mixology. If you haven't seen it, check it out on Netflix. I'm thrilled that it got on Netflix so fast.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised too.
Yeah, I am surprised, but glad. My third one, we're going to move away from comedy. We're going to do one. This is a Netflix original. It's called Hemlock Grove, and in a nutshell, it's about werewolves. That's oversimplifying it. It is such a good but weird show. Hour-long episodes, 13 per season. The second season just got released. Great time to go catch up on the first season and second season, see how that worked out. I haven't yet started the second season, but I'll be starting that soon. Watched the first season last year. Terrific show. Especially if you like the supernatural type stuff, this is a really interesting take on werewolves and the Romani culture. So check it out. There's my 3. Okay. See how short that was? You can go on about stuff, especially when it's stuff that you like what's that show again? Sour Patch Kids? I forget.
I felt the need to explain the cultural relevance of Queer as Folk.
No, you're absolutely right. It was impactful. And even if you have seen it, go see it again.
Which is what I'm doing. This is like the third time I've gone through it, because watched it initially when I rented the DVDs from Netflix. I used to get the DVDs in the mail way back before.
Back in the day.
Back in the day before you could stream it.
That's right.
That's how I initially fell into it. You know the funniest part of it? I fell into Queer as Folk because of Power Rangers.
That is weird.
It was during the SPD season. I loved the character of Bridge, Green Ranger, played by Matt Austin.
Right. Found
out Matt Austin guest starred on an episode of Queer as Folk in season 3.
So went back to check it out.
Found out which disc that episode was on. Rented that disc from Netflix. Liked that episode so much, which, middle of season 3, little confused, don't know what's going on, but know, hey, this looks like a good story. Started at the beginning of season 3, proceeded to watch the seasons out of order, but eventually watched the whole thing, then went back bought the DVDs, watched them in order, and so this is my third time going through them.
Right, second time in order.
Second time in order.
It's Bones, the series Bones with Emily Deschanel and
David Boreanaz.
Thank you. Wow, gone. It was the exact same thing for me. I had never really had an interest in the show until I want to say season 6, maybe 7. I'm not sure. I'd have to look again. Anyway, there is one particular episode where Joel David Moore was the guest star. And it featured this interesting convention. It was a great episode, and I said, this is actually a pretty fun show. So from that, went back, and of course I didn't do it out of order because I'm anal about shit like that. Watched it from the beginning, and I'm completely caught up, and I'm loving the show. It's still a very good show. So the difference is mine's still on the air.
Yeah.
But that's typical for a Showtime show. I mean, it's not going to last very long. It got 5 seasons, which is 5, right?
5,
which is actually right perfect for a mini series. 5 seasons is a good time frame,
and some of those seasons actually had 22 or more episodes,
which is really good.
Some had 13, like the traditional cable show, but some actually had 22 plus episodes, which, all things considered, Queer Folk was a successful premium cable show.
Yeah, it's not Game of Thrones. Let's face it, it's not. It is not. It never reached the level of success that Game of Thrones blew the fuck up.
I don't think it could have because of its controversial subject
really
matter.
But
it didn't.
But considering its matter, it did amazing.
Yes, and it really was breakthrough for that time.
Absolutely. It's breakthrough for today. It's 10 years later. It's still a groundbreaking show.
Yes.
And that's after the L Word, Girls, the Big C, all these other really interesting, groundbreaking shows that Showtime, HBO, and Starz have done. It's still a groundbreaking show, even in today's culture of groundbreaking shows.
Mm-hmm. And so, yes, that pick took a little longer because I felt the need to explain the cultural relevance of it.
That's fine. I just like giving you shit.
My other 2 picks went pretty quick.
That's true.
Anyway, so that's our Flix Picks. Check them out and enjoy. As always, check out jackalopesafire.com for the latest from us.
Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see you next time.
Facebook's really the important one, I feel. jackalopesafire.com is great. We want people to come there. But if you want to keep up with what we're actually doing day to day, Facebook.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because that's going to get the most updates. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.